It's 10:30 a.m. on the 22nd of September 2025. In the South China Sea near Woody Island, the guided missile destroyer USS Barry suddenly picks up multiple unknown tracks racing in fast. Alarms blare across the decks. Sailors rush to battle stations, strapping into consoles and grabbing helmets. Outside, over the shimmering horizon, streaks of white smoke appear, missiles already inbound. 12 supersonic weapons, each capable of tearing a ship apart, cut through the sky at Mach 3. Their target, the massive oil tanker Liberty Sentinel, worth $68 billion and carrying millions of barrels of crude. The crew of the destroyer knows, if even one gets through, disaster follows. Seconds tick by. The commander shouts orders. Hatches slam. Missile tubes open. The sea roars with the sound of engines. In the next few moments, the fate of the tanker and America's credibility in these contested waters will be decided. The South China Sea is one of the busiest arteries on the planet. Every day, cargo ships and tankers pass through these lanes, carrying the fuel, goods, and raw materials that keep the modern world running. On this morning, the Liberty Sentinel is one of those lifelines loaded with billions in crude oil and sailing under U.S. protection. The USS Barry isn't here by accident. Washington tasked it with escorting key shipping routes, making sure America's energy supply and global trade remain safe from sudden strikes. For Beijing, these waters are claimed as their own, defended with destroyers, missile batteries, and a web of sensors. Both sides know a spark here could ignite a far larger fire. If the tanker is lost, it's not just one ship that sinks. It's families back home facing higher prices, shelves running empty, factories slowing down. Insurance costs would skyrocket. Allies would question America's ability to protect them, and China would send a message that U.S. warships can't shield the sea lanes. That's the real weight behind the clash. Today's objective for the U.S. Navy is simple: stop every missile. If they fail, the loss is measured not just in lives, but in America's standing across Asia. If they succeed, it proves the U.S. can still fight and win in the world's most contested waters. The confrontation is raw, dangerous, and personal. One side fights to defend global trade. The other fights to push America out. And right now, missiles are flying toward billions of dollars in oil, and the sailors sworn to protect it. In a showdown like this, whose side are you on? Press 1 if you think the U.S. response is justified. Press 9 if you believe China's challenge changes the game. 10:31 a.m. The radar picture sharpens 12 incoming missiles, all moving at 3 times the speed of sound. The destroyer's combat system locks on. The commander wastes no time. Fire. The first defense comes from the ship's long-range interceptors. 2 SM-6 missiles launch with a roar, boosters lighting the horizon. They streak upward, then curve down to meet the supersonic threats head-on. Seconds later, 2 bright flashes mark direct hits. But the fight is just starting. The Liberty Sentinel is still in danger, and more missiles close fast. The commander orders the second line of defense, ESSM interceptors, shorter ranged but faster to react. They fire in salvos, each guided to intercept within seconds. The destroyer shudders as blast after blast erupts from its vertical launch system. In the combat center, sailors call out in quick bursts. 10 seconds to impact. 6 inbound left. Engaging. Every eye locks on glowing tracks. This isn't practice, it's survival. Outside, explosions light the sky. 2 missiles vanish as ESSM intercepts connect. Another breaks apart mid-air, shredded by shrapnel. Yet more keep pushing through. Warheads intact, speed terrifying. USS Barry coordinates by radio with Allied drones overhead. Real-time data ensures no gap in defense. Still, the sheer number makes every second feel like a lifetime. 3 inbound, 1 high, 2 sea skimmers. The crew braces. Close-range systems adjust, preparing for the last-ditch fight. Then it happens. 2 intercepts succeed explosions, debris falling into the sea. But 1 missile slips past. It slams into the Liberty Sentinel's side. A fireball erupts. Black smoke billows upward, the giant tanker rocking from the impact. Damage control alarms ring aboard the tanker. foam monitors hammer the flames while the captain radios that propulsion holds. Barry launches Nulka decoys and clouds of chaff, forcing the seekers to hunt blind. An EA-18G Growler arrives overhead, jamming hostile radars. AMQ-9B Sea Guardian relays fresh tracks to the ship's plot. The commander steadies his voice. "Hold the screen, we finished this." The crew of the USS Barry knows they saved the ship from total destruction, but the enemy attack is far from over. The Liberty Sentinel burns, but it's still afloat. Fire crews fight the blaze, while the USS Barry turns a few degrees to shield the tanker's damaged side. That maneuver narrows the angle, giving the destroyer's weapons a better shot at incoming threats. The enemy isn't done. New radar pings show several objects skimming just above the waves, low-flying cruise missiles, harder to detect and harder to kill. The ESSM interceptors roar once more, slashing across the sky, but the margin for error is razor thin. 2 incoming threats are destroyed in mid-air. Another slips closer, only to be shredded by the destroyer's rapid-fire gun. The ship's close-in weapon system spins furiously, radar tracking every flash on the water. The crew feels the pressure mount. Contact, bearing 160. More inbound. The call echoes through the control room. The commander shifts tactics, mixing missiles, guns, and decoys in a layered defense. It's a deadly game of timing. Fire too early and you waste ammunition. Fire too late and you risk destruction. Outside, smoke trails crisscross the horizon. Bright explosions light the sea as intercepts connect, but the battle is relentless. The destroyer maneuvers tighter, throwing up chaff and electronic noise, forcing the enemy missiles to hunt in confusion. Overhead, an EA-18G Growler blankets the battle space in static braking lock-on attempts. AMQ-9B Sea Guardian feeds precise bearings to Aegis, which recomputes firing solutions every heartbeat, keeping the shield tight amid chaos. Below deck, damage control teams brace for the possibility of a hit. They patch hoses, secure bulkheads, and keep emergency gear ready. Above deck, gunners keep scanning, fingers tight on triggers, knowing a single miss could be their last. Still, the defense holds. Interceptor after interceptor slams into its target. The tanker, scarred and smoking, continues to push through the contested waters, living proof that the defense line isn't broken yet. This is the kind of moment that defines who controls the sea. America's destroyer fights to keep the lane open, while China's missiles test how far US resolve can bend. In your eyes, who's proving stronger here? Press 1 if you think the US defense is unshakable. Press 9 if you believe China's pressure is breaking through. The crew barely has time to breathe before the next surprise hits. Radar operators shout, "New contacts, fast movers, low altitude." These aren't the heavy cruise missiles from before. They're smaller, faster, skimming just meters above the waves. Their size makes them harder to track. Their speed makes them harder to kill. The destroyer's systems strain to keep up. Computers update firing solutions every second, but the low angle means radar returns blur into sea clutter. On deck, gunners squint against the horizon, searching for shapes that almost vanish in the spray. The commander knows they need more than missiles. Bring the close-in weapons online. Shift to rapid fire. The ship's Gatling gun spins up, barrels glowing, ready to throw a wall of lead into the sky. At the same time, Nulka decoys launch again, popping bright trails across the surface to confuse enemy seekers. Overhead, the EA-18G Growler tightens its electronic barrage, jamming guidance systems. The MQ-9B shifts lower, relaying visuals of the new inbound threats. But these sea skimmers dart and weave unpredictably, slipping through gaps in the defensive web. 3 inbound bearing 220, range 1 mile. The shout cuts through the noise. This is knife fight distance. The margin is seconds. Guns chatter, interceptors streak, and explosions spray the sea with shrapnel. But still, one missile punches closer than anyone expected. Alarms wail, crew brace, and the destroyer throws everything it has into the line of fire. Every heartbeat is a gamble. The twist is clear. The first wave was only the beginning. The enemy has shifted tactics, probing for the ship's weak spots. If they land even one hit on the destroyer, the defense screen collapses and the tanker won't survive the next salvo. The final wave closes in. The destroyer has seconds to react. Alarms wail across every deck, sailors brace, and the ship's close-in defenses come alive. The Gatling gun thunders, spitting hundreds of rounds per second. Tracers carve bright arcs into the night sky. One missile detonates in a blinding flash, then another. The sea boils with falling debris. But the threat isn't gone. Two more streaks break through the chaos, flying lower than before, hugging the waves so tightly they vanish in the spray. The ship's radar struggles to keep lock. "Target lost, reacquiring," shouts a sailor. Sweat drips, hands grip consoles, tension stretches thin. Reacquired, range half a mile. The call comes just in time. ESSM interceptors leap from their silos, crossing paths with the sea skimmers. One explodes in a fireball, the other twists, dodges, and keeps coming. Now it's up to the last line of defense. The destroyer's CIWS roars, barrels glowing as it pours tungsten rounds into the path of the incoming threat. The missile closes the gap 500 yards, 400, 300. Each heartbeat feels like forever. At 200 yards, the CIWS connects. The missile bursts apart, fragments slamming into the waves. The ship shudders from the shockwave, spray covering the bow. The horizon clears. For a moment, silence. Then cheers erupt across the decks. They survived. The Liberty Sentinel, scarred and burning from earlier strikes, remains afloat. The USS Barry still stands guard, battered but unbroken. The message is unmistakable. America's shield held, but only just. Every missile cost thousands to intercept. Every second demanded precision under fire. The battle proved both strength and vulnerability, showing allies the US won't back down, while reminding everyone survival hangs by a thread. Damage reports ripple in. Shrapnel scours the aft deck. A radar panel is cracked, and 2 sailors suffer concussions. Medics move fast. Engineers reroute power and spin up backup cooling for the VLS. The commander scans the plot air picture clear. Tankers still making way. Far off, thin contrails hint the counterstrike is forming. This was the closest of close calls. If you had to choose, who came out stronger in this climax? Press 1 if you think the US. Defense showed unshakable power. Press 9 if you believe China proved it can push America to the edge. The battle ends, but scars remain. On the Liberty Sentinel, black smoke rises as crews fight to contain the fire. The tanker is hurt, but it sails on proof of how close disaster came. On the USS, Barry sailors patch holes and tend to the wounded. 3 Americans are dead, 12 more injured. The destroyer is battered, radar scorched, decks ripped by shrapnel, systems strained from combat. Yet the ship floats, weapons armed, crew steady. For China, the cost is heavy. Radar on Woody Island lies in ruins. The airstrip cratered, fuel storage in flames, and 2 corvettes sunk in their harbor. The US counterstrike, carried out by stealth bombers and Tomahawks, crippled the base meant to project power across the South China Sea. Hundreds are dead or injured, losses in the billions. Strategically, the message is clear. The US proved it could weave electronic warfare, drones, bombers, and naval missiles into a coordinated shield and sword. Allies, Japan, the Philippines, Vietnam, Taiwan publicly back Washington. Insurance markets breathe easier, knowing America still stands guard. But Beijing answers differently. Propaganda, cyber strikes, and threats without direct escalation. It avoids a clash for now, but vows revenge. The contest isn't over, it's only shifting into a new phase. For Washington, the meaning is sharp. Energy lifelines are the arteries of modern power. Any attack on them will be met instantly, at any cost. For Beijing, the warning is just as clear. Push too far and risk a blow that cuts deep. Tonight, the sea lanes remain open. America's destroyer survived, but the question lingers. What happens when the next wave is twice as big or comes with missiles from the mainland? That storm waits just beyond the horizon. In your view, did this showdown prove America still holds the line, or that China's challenge is only beginning? Press 1 if you think US. Strength sent the stronger message. Press 9 if you believe Beijing's persistence sets the stage for the next clash.